Live. Miles Mikolas on the mound today. He is a four-seam, a slider, a curveball, a sinker, and a changeup that he uses most often. Pretty good across the board this year. 71st percentile in pitching run value with 5. That is a 3.96 ERA. And a really nice 6.5% walk rate. The contact numbers aren't great, but if you can keep putting it in the zone with a low walk rate with this defense behind you, you can perform well, and that's what he's done so far. So we're about to get underway here. The Blue Jays starting with Bassitt, Barger, Alejandro Kirk, Springer, Jimenez, Clement, Rodin, Straw, and Clase. So Rodin and Straw did not play yesterday. They're getting the start today. So that moves Clement over to first base with Bassitt at short and Springer playing DH, which puts Rodin in right field for them. For the Cardinals, Nootbaar is getting the day off after a really rough day yesterday. So that puts Donovan out in left field, and it starts Gorman at second base, which means the DH is Herrera and Pajes is behind the plate. So that is what you're looking at. We go through the entirety of the defense. It's Donovan in left, Scott in center, and Burleson in right, with Arenado at third, Contreras at first, Gorman at second, Wynn at short, Pajes behind the plate, and Herrera at DH. So Mikolas is stepping up to the mound right now. And we lead off with Bo Bichette. Here's the first pitch of the game. In there at the bottom of the zone for a strike. It's 0-1. Let's line that up. There we go. Alrighty. The 0-1 pitch to Bo Bichette. He goes the other way, and it's lofted out for a base hit. Burleson's going to have to pick that one up. One man on to start the game. Nobody out in the first. So Bichette is 1 for 1. That's going to bring up Addison Barger. Barger having a really nice year so far, hitting .260 with an .807 OPS. Playing third base once again. First pitch to Barger is in there for a strike. 0-1. Just another fastball low and away. It's really nice having a guy like Brendan Donovan who can move around. Go to left field to replace Nootbaar today. Here's the 0-1. Popped up. Looks like it's playable in left field. Mason Wynn will make the call and adjust to make the grab. 1 out in the first. So that will bring up Alejandro Kirk, who had an absolutely fantastic day yesterday. He had 4 hits, also had the game-winning extra base hit in the 10th. Kirk batting .316 this season with a .782 OPS. Here's the first pitch from Mikolas. Instead, he checks on Bichette at first. All right, Mikolas is ready. First pitch to Kirk. Inside, popped up, but it's lofted into center field. It's going to drop between Gorman and Scott, and that's a base hit. So runners at first and second with 1 out, and that'll bring up George Springer, who's playing DH today. So a rough first inning for Mikolas so far, a couple jam shots. First one definitely better contact by Bichette than that one. That one was just pushed just far enough into center. Any shorter or any longer, and it would have been caught with that terrible launch angle, but either way, 2 men on. Here's the first pitch to Springer. Way low and outside with the slider, 1-0. Springer's been the best hitter for the Blue Jays so far this year. .857 OPS with 10 home runs. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. getting the day off today. As Springer swings right over a sinker, tips it into the glove, it's 1-1. The 1-1 to Springer. is a curveball, caught the outside corner, 1-2. So it's a 1-2 count, 1 man out, 2 men on in the top of the first. Mikolas still at just 8 pitches, so a lot of contact made so far. That's what you expect out of Mikolas. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Top of the zone, popped up, playable on the infield. This one's going to be called by Arenado, who makes the grab. It was an infield fly, so the batter was out regardless. There was an interesting play a couple days ago. Might have been yesterday. It was Tampa Bay and Boston, I believe. And there was a pop fly on the infield. And the Tampa Bay runners didn't know the infield fly rule, so they both run after the infield fly is called. And then they throw it to Trevor Story at third base. And he doesn't tag the runner when he could have, and he then throws it to second, and the second baseman does tag the runner, so you get the double play on the infield fly rule, plus the guy tagged out at second. And a lot of people did not understand that play. But it was an interesting one. Here's the 1-0 to Jimenez. He misses it way low and in, 2-0. It really does benefit you to know the game that you are playing, and the Tampa Bay runners just, either that or the base coaches, just didn't read that properly at all. 2 men on here. Here's the 2-0 pitch to Jimenez. It's in there for a strike with the changeup up and away. 2-1. Jimenez not having a great year so far. Just a .594 OPS. Does have 3 home runs. Here is the 2-1 pitch. Inside 3-1. So Mikolas could be in a little bit of trouble here. On deck is Ernie Clement. There are 2 men on, 2 men out here in the top of the first. The 3-1 pitch to Andrés Jimenez. Right down the middle, pulled high in the air to right field. Burleson is back, and that ball is gone into the bullpen. A 3-run home run for Andrés Jimenez, and it is 3-0 Toronto in the top of the first. That one went 387 feet. It was a fastball right down the middle. 92 miles an hour. Easy one for Jimenez to get to, and he really put the barrel on it. First pitch fastball in there for a strike against Ernie Clement. But the Blue Jays have an early lead. The 0-1 is outside, 1-1. That was the slider. Clement hitting 273 with a 695 OPS. The 1-1. Way inside, 2-1. Has earned himself 1.6 WAR so far this year. Probably playing some good defense. He often plays short. Here's the 2-1. Top of the zone, fouled back, 2-2. So we'll see if Mikolas can limit the damage, settle back in. Usually his first inning is his worst inning, so the 3 runs, that's not a game breaker by any means. Here is the 2-2 pitch to Clement. Inside, ground ball to Arenado at third. And he makes the play. So we go to the bottom of the first, but not before a 3-run inning by the Blue Jays. Highlighted by a 3-run bomb for Andrés Jimenez. So on the mound for the Blue Jays are going to be Chris Bassitt. It is going to be Chris Bassitt. He's having a decent year. 2 pitching run value, 1.32 whip is a little bit high. 3.56 ERA is pretty good. The average exit velo, a really good stat. A really low walk rate. Hard hit rate is low. Ground ball rate is pretty high. So Bassitt's been pretty good this year. Across the board. But the Cardinals did get to him the last time they played. Gorman had 2 home runs in that game, and a lot of the lineup did well against him. If you look at all of last year, he was much worse, had negative 15 pitching run value. The only good signs were the average exit velocity, and then the hard hit rate was also down. So that's pretty much the same stat. Didn't get hit too hard very often, but just wasn't super effective last year. Let's see the walk rate. The walk rate is really low this year at just 5.4. Last year was at 9.2, so that's a big difference. We'll see if the Cardinals can rise it back up. It's going to be Mason Wynn leading off today with Herrera as the second hitter. And then you have Donovan, Contreras, Burleson, Arenado, Gorman, Pajes, and Scott. So the true balanced lineup in this one. Game is back. So let's see what Mason Wynn has in store for us today. See if the Cardinals can rally back early. Bassitt uses mostly the sinker at 41%, and then he uses the cutter and curve a lot as well. First pitch is the sinker right down the middle. It's 0-1. The 0-1 pitch to Mason Wynn is a hanging curveball, but he pulls it foul. He was a little bit out in front of it. 0-2. So already ahead on Mason Wynn. He has a 758 OPS with 6 home runs this year. The 0-2 pitch from Bassitt to Wynn is way outside with the sweeper, 1-2. It's a rare leadoff appearance for Mason Wynn. He's definitely shown the capability to hit in this spot. I like having Nootbaar as the 2-hitter, but he just needs to lock back in, as he's being shown eating some gum right now. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss on a cutter up and away, and down goes Wynn. So a strikeout to start the day for Bassitt, and that'll bring up Ivan Herrera with 1 out. First pitch to Herrera went right down the middle with the sinker. It's 0-1. Might take a minute for the Cardinals to adjust to the new lineup. Wouldn't mind seeing Nootbaar come back in as the 2-hitter or go back to the 1 spot. He just needs to settle in. Here's the 0-1. Up and in, chopped right back to the mound, off the glove of Bassitt, and that looks like an infield hit, and it is. So Herrera with another hit. He continues to hit very, very well this year. He has a .322 average with a .965 OPS on the year. And it'll go up after that single. Just hit it right back at Bassitt, and he stuck his glove down and accidentally punched it into the ground, which made it an easy infield single. So 1 man on with 1 man out in the first, and that'll bring up Brendan Donovan. First pitch to Donovan is way outside, 1-0. Bassitt has not been fantastic against the Cardinals, a .758 ERA against the Redbirds in his career on 4 starts. Here's the 1-0 to Donovan. In there for a strike with the sinker, 1-1. Donovan's been pretty good this year, accumulated 2.2 WAR already, a 314 average, and an .826 OPS. The 1-1 pitch to Donovan. He is way low and in with the splitter, 2-1. So Donovan is ahead in the count. Big chance to start a rally here. Just needs to see this pitch. Here's the 2-1 pitch from Bassitt to Donovan. Top of the zone, he tries to pull it, hits it high in the air to right field. And the catch is made by the center fielder, Class A. So 2 down in the first, and that'll bring up Wilson Contreras. Sorry, Miles Straw is playing center field today. Class A is in left, and Roden is in right. It's crazy that Straw is even faster than Class A and gets the priority at center. A lot of fast players for the Blue Jays. Bassitt's ready. First pitch to Contreras. Instead, we have a pitch clock violation. Nope, just a timeout. I guess Bassitt stepped off to avoid it. First pitch to Contreras. Right down the middle with the sinker, it's 0-1. Contreras in the last 10 games is hitting .333. He also has a home run and 5 doubles. So that's incredible. Let's see if he can contribute here. He has a base runner. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Contreras. Curveball slow but low and in, and just caught the lower inside corner. And it's 0-2. Bassitt 1 pitch away from getting out of the inning as Contreras calls time. The 0-2 pitch. Low and in, fouled back, still 0-2. We are more than a third of the way into the year now. So some teams kind of have their destinies written already. Cardinals are definitely not one of those teams. Still have a lot to figure out. The 0-2 pitch reaches out and rolls it over to short. They'll just go for the force at second, and we go to the second inning. It is still 3-0 Toronto after 1. So we hadn't seen Roden or Straw, so I'm going to take a look at their numbers as we head to this second inning. Alan Roden. He is 25 years old, has a .509 OPS in 81 at-bats, 1 home run. He's been pretty good in the field so far. 3 fielding run value, 2 outs above average. Good arm strength, good arm value. But he's about an average sprinter. Whiff rate and squared up rate are pretty good. The rest of the stats a little bit below average. We'll see what he develops into. It's very, very early for him. He did go to Creighton, so he was destined to be a Blue Jay. That's always pretty cool. Check out Miles Straw, the former Astro. Drafted by the Astros, had a .671 OPS this year. That's pretty good. It's better than his career average. -2 batting run value. Not great on the contact numbers, but a good expected batting average. He squares it up a lot and doesn't strike out much. So if he walked a little more, that could be very valuable. He's obviously very fast, 91st percentile in sprint speed, and has 4 outs above average. So I'll leave you with that. I'll be back in 1 second. All right, I'm back. The game's definitely back by now. It is. So, Rodin, I'll just go through the at-bat real fast. Mikolas threw a fastball down the middle for a strike. It was 0-1. And then the 0-1 pitch was taken up and in. It was in the zone, but called a ball, so 1-1. The 1-1 pitch missed outside with the curveball, still 2-1, so just one strike, even though he put it in the zone twice. The 2-1 pitch to Rodin was at the bottom of the zone, ground ball to first. Contreras flips it to Mikolas for out number 1. And then that brings up Miles Straw, who took the first pitch out of the zone. It's 1-0. So now we are live. Here we go. The 1-0 pitch. Up and away with the fastball, 2-0. Straw has a 278 average, 671 OPS. Playing center field. 2-0 pitch, low and in, fouled back, 2-1. Started his career with the Astros, ended up on the Mariners and the Guardians, I believe, before making his way to the Blue Jays. The Cardinals are playing him to pull, with Donovan almost up the middle. The 2-1, right down the middle on a slider, hit deep to center field, but Victor Scott is there, 2 outs. Victor Scott had a very rough day yesterday. Accidentally let a ball over the wall that would not have gone out if he had not touched it. But the Cardinals did rally back, and it was just an unfortunate ending, with Helsley giving up a home run to the most unlikely candidate. 2 outs, here comes that candidate. It is Jonathan Clase, who takes ball 1 inside. It's 1-0. Clase hit a home run on a fastball right down the middle from Helsley. But in this case, it is Mikolas. The 1-0 pitch. Swing and a miss on a changeup low and away. It's 1-1. Is 3-0 Toronto right now. The 1-1 pitch is outside but fouled off. 1-2. This is the 20th game of the year for Clase. The 1-2 pitch is way upstairs, 2-2. He has 1 home run so far, just that one against Helsley last night. 6 RBIs and a 617 OPS. 2-2 pitch. Curveball caught the top of the zone. Down goes Clase, and Mikolas has settled in perfectly fine in that inning. A 1-2-3. Here come the Cardinals in the bottom of the second. It's going to be Burleson, Arenado, and Gorman. Burleson's been good against Bassitt in his career. He's also been good this year. 95th percentile in squared up rate. Good average exit velo and expected batting average. Also does not whiff or strike out very often. So we can go to the Bassitt versus batter. I believe that's something I can get on here. Okay, I'll just type Bassitt. We go here. There should be a versus batter. Oh, there you go, versus today's lineup. So it is Donovan, it's Contreras, Burleson, Gorman. They've all been great against Bassitt. Haven't been as good so far today, but expect them to settle in. Let's go back to Savant just because it's more aesthetically pleasing. Has all these bars you can see really clearly how well these guys have done against him. All right, not how well these guys have done against him, but just how well these guys have played this season. All right. Game is back. Bassitt. He is third in ERA since 2018, minimum 1,000 innings. So that is a pretty big minimum. But still very impressive. It's 0-1 on Burleson. That was a good sinker on the outside part of the plate. Oh, 1 pitch, driven the other way, but a good stop at third by Barger. And 1 out now in the second. So that'll bring up Arenado with nobody on and 1 out in the bottom half of the second inning. Arenado hitting at .233 this year with a .672 OPS. First pitch from Bassitt to Arenado. He's inside 1-0. We'll see if Arenado can reach base because Gorman has taken Bassitt deep in both of his at-bats against him so far in his career. So he's a good candidate to potentially homer here. Maybe he could get an extra base runner. Arenado at the plate. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Bottom of the zone with the sinker. Doesn't get the call. 2-0. Pitch. Driven up the middle for a base hit. Arenado went down and got that one. It was a sinker low and away. Would have been a strike, but Arenado reached out and put the end of the bat on that one. And drove it up the middle. Good piece of hitting by Arenado. It ends up being just about the barrel. He was actually a little bit further inside the bat than I thought. That's why he was able to get an exit velocity on that one that was fast enough to get through the infield. So Arenado on first with 1 out. Here comes Gorman. Has a really nice history against Bassitt. First pitch of the at-bat. Top of the zone, it's a ball. 1-0. That was a sinker, up and away. Gorman has 4 RBIs and 2 home runs against Bassitt on 2 at-bats. The 1-0. Up and away again, 2-0. So if the pattern continues, it's going to be a 2-run home run here, as that's the average at-bat from Gorman against Bassitt. We would love to see it. 2-0 pitch to Nolan Gorman. Missed up and away again with the sinker. It's 3-0. So maybe a little bit of pitching around him here. Trying to get him to chase. We'll see if Bassitt has anything for him to hit here. The 3-0 pitch. Way upstairs, ball 4. So not pitching to Gorman today, as he did give up a couple home runs to him the last time they faced. So runners on first and second with 1 out, and that'll bring up Pedro Pajes, who is hitting .223 this year with a .648 OPS. With 2 men on and just 1 out, here's a big opportunity for Pajes to get the Cardinals back into the game. He digs in after a timeout. First pitch from Bassitt to Pajes. Top of the zone, fouled back on a sinker. It's 0-1. The 0-1 pitch was perfectly placed low and in with the sinker. It's 0-2 now. So Pajes will have to protect here. Victor Scott is on deck. As long as Pajes doesn't ground into a double play, he will get a chance to drive in these runners. But first, let's see if Pajes can stay alive. The 0-2 pitch from Bassitt to Pajes. Way below the zone with the sinker, 1-2. Pajes, the Cardinals' best defensive catcher, getting to play every day, for the most part, as Herrera usually takes the DH slot. About 2/3 of games Pajes has played this year. Obviously, the Cardinals also have Pozo, Herrera, and eventually Contreras will get back behind the plate. But we may never see that for a long while. Here's the 1-2 pitch from Bassitt to Pedro Pajes. Throws the curveball low and away. Doesn't get the chase. It's 2-2. Obviously, Contreras looking to be a full-time first baseman. Sometimes sliding over to DH. Arenado on second. Here's the 2-2. Ground ball. Easy play at short. They're going to go to second for 1 and turn 2. So Pedro Pajes does bounce into a double play. Victor Scott won't get to bat this inning, and we go to the 3rd inning. Still 3-0. Toronto in St. Louis. It will be the top of the order for the Blue Jays: Bichette, Barger, and Kirk. Let's see if the Cardinals made any roster updates from yesterday. I don't think so, but Walker's still on the IL. Still the same bench, so alrighty. Alrighty. Bo Bichette is 1 for 1 today. He was able to poke a base hit out to right field his first time up. Take strike 1, low and away with the sinker. It's 0-1. Bichette hitting .271 this year. 742 OPS. The 0-1 is low and away, 1-1. Bichette did come around to score on that 3-run bomb from Jimenez. The only scoring of the game so far. Here's the 1-1 from Mikolas to Bichette. Way low and away with the curveball, 2-1. Bases are empty. It's the top of the 3rd. Nobody out. Here's the 2-1 pitch from Mikolas. Right down the middle, swing and a miss, 2-2. I wonder if Guerrero missing today had anything to do with the ball that hit him yesterday. Don't think he's in any bad shape or anything, but I think a ball did skip up and hit him. Here's the 2-2 to Bassitt. Fouled away, still 2-2. Cardinals for sure have a lot of games in a row coming up, so they're managing their team to preserve as much of their bullpen and all that as possible, as Bassitt grounds the 2-2 pitch to Mason Wynn for out number 1. So that's going to bring up Addison Barger with 1 out and nobody on in the 3rd. Barger is 0 for 1 so far today. First pitch of his second at-bat is low with the changeup, 1-0. Mikolas about to throw his 40th pitch. It is the top of the 3rd, so about average as far as his pitch efficiency so far this game. As he throws the slider into the zone, it's 1-1. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Up and in, fly ball, right field. Burleson drifts over to the wall, but it is out of play, 1-2. A little kid ended up with that ball and held it up above his head and started running around, so that was a little bit funny. It's always great to see a little kid end up with one of those baseballs. Definitely helps grow the game. 1-2 now from Mikolas to Barger. Curveball caught the outside corner for a strike, and down goes Barger. So there's a strikeout for Mikolas. That one was his second of the day. His first came against Clase. 2 outs, nobody on. Here comes Alejandro Kirk. He is 1 for 1 today, absolutely blazing this series as he takes a curveball down the middle for a strike. It's 0-1. He had a jam shot single his last time up. Takes a sinker at the bottom of the zone. It's 0-2. He's going to call time, give himself a second. One thing we've become accustomed to is these patches on the side of uniforms. Here's the 0-2, way outside, 1-2. Seeing the TD patch on the Blue Jays jersey. Is a little bit of a standout patch, but every team kind of has one at this point. And they aren't terrible. They're not as bad as other sports. Here's the 1-2. Fastball outside, driven to center field. Victor Scott ranges over and makes the grab. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. Still 3-0. Toronto. So it's going to be Scott and then the top of the order. So we can leave Victor Scott's numbers up. Scott, -5 batting run value, but he's good across the board everywhere else. 637 OPS. Hasn't been hitting the ball very hard. One thing I wish he could do just a little bit better is bunt the ball. They have his outs above average at 8, which is still 99th percentile. I thought maybe yesterday's play would bring that down, but I guess it's just a range stat, so they don't care about a home run. Just seems like, objectively, yesterday's play was a really bad play. It turned a double into a homer. But, Scott's turned a lot of extra base hits into outs this year, so can't really complain about it. See if Victor Scott can start a rally here. Try to wreck Bassitt's day. I am curious if Nootbaar has a decent history against Bassitt, because it would have been a good matchup for him, righty-lefty. But if it's a bad history, then it makes perfect sense. All right. Bassitt back on the mound. Victor Scott stepping up to the plate. He is 0 for 0 in this one. He is not hit yet. It is the third inning. First plate appearance for Scott. First pitch. Top of the zone. He hits it high in the air to the right field. Easy play out there. And the catch is made. That one by Roden. And there's one out in the third. That'll bring up Mason Wynn at the top of the Cardinals order. Mason Wynn is 0 for 1 today with a strikeout so far. Cardinals are giving out a growth chart for Mason Wynn in June 21st. Here's the first pitch. Outside 1-0. I think this might be the first game of the year. No, it's this. Wynn was the leadoff hitter for a while, with Nootbaar as the second hitter at the beginning of the year. Here is the 1-0 from Bassitt to Wynn. A strike right down the middle with the sinker, 1-1. I don't dislike that at all. I think Nootbaar is a really good two-hitting option because he has the power and the on-base, which is really, really nice. Here's the 1-1 from Bassitt to Wynn. Right down the middle, but he pops it up. So Cardinals are popping up a lot of pitches recently. That catch is made by the first baseman, Clement, and there's two outs. So that'll bring up Ivan Herrera. He's 1 for 1 today. One of just 2 hits for the Cardinals so far in this one. Ivan Herrera is 5th in OPS plus in the NL. Here's the first pitch. Right down the middle with a sinker, 0-1. Herrera hitting .328 on the year. Looks like an Albert Pujols stat line. Here's the 0-1. Just outside, 1-1. I believe Pujols hit .328 over his first 11 seasons in St. Louis. It's a little bit of a different sample. But anytime you can make that comparison, it's always fantastic news for the Cardinals. Here's the 1-1 to Herrera. Above the zone, 2-1. Bassitt throwing pitch 36, the 2-1 to Herrera. It's outside, 3-1. That was the sweeper. Brendan Donovan waits on deck. Herrera looks on. Here is the 3-1 pitch from Bassitt to Herrera. Up and in, smoked in the air to left field, but it is foul. That got into the second or third deck there. But it was well into foul territory. So the 3-2 pitch to Herrera is chopped foul, and we'll do it again. Herrera making Bassitt work a little bit. See if you can get him to 40 pitches prior to the end of the third. Hopefully get a base runner and make it even more than that. Pitch 39 to Herrera. Swing and a miss on a curveball low and away, and down goes Herrera. Bassitt stays below 40 pitches, and we go to the fourth inning. It's still 3-0 Blue Jays in St. Louis. So that's going to bring up Springer. Springer has some really nice stats, really obvious in the Savant page. So I'll throw Springer's up there, and then I'll be right back. All right, I probably missed a good amount there. I had to check something out. Okay, not looking great. I'll just run through the inning real fast. I think I can catch up. Okay, wow. Very long at bat. So Springer. All right. So it was 3-2 on Springer when he rocketed one up the middle for a base hit. So it was one man on with nobody out. Brought up Andres Jimenez. Let's see, the 1-2 pitch was grounded to the right-hand side. Gorman had to range over and throw it to Mikolas for the out. So that moves Springer over to second with one out. Then Clement drove one to left field, which Donovan had to play on a hop, which put runners at the corners with one out. And that brought up Rodin, who took ball one outside. The 1-0 pitch to Rodin went the other way for a base hit. That's going to put the Blue Jays up 4-0 with runners at first and second and one out. And here's the 1-0 pitch to Miles Straw. Right down the middle with the sinker, 1-1. The 1-1 to Miles Straw. Chopped over to Nolan Arenado, who steps on third and makes the play to first for a double play. We go to the bottom of the fourth. It's 4-0 Blue Jays after a one-run inning that they manufactured, starting off with a base hit by George Springer. Alrighty, so that's what happened that inning. Who is due up? It's going to be Donovan, Contreras, and Burleson. All right. I mean, if you look at what Donovan's done this year, still one of the lowest strikeout rates in baseball at 13.1. Walk rate's not bad at 8%. Really good expected batting average at 307. Good sweet spot, good squared up. He's still really nice in the batting run value with 74th percentile, 826 OPS. So he's been a really good hitter. Just doesn't have a whole lot of power. Okay, it looks like there was a hit by pitch. So Donovan got hit by the first pitch of the fourth inning. It was a curveball up and in, and just drilled him right in the thigh. So one man on with nobody out in the fourth, and that'll bring up Wilson Contreras. First pitch to Contreras with Donovan on first. He is above the zone, 1-0. The 1-0 pitch to Contreras. Top of the zone, swung out of his shoes, fell on the ground on a foul tip, 1-1. Contreras is 0 for 1 with a ground into fielder's choice back in the first. Big chance here with a man on and nobody out to start a rally. Try to get back into this one. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Contreras. Ground ball, left-hand side. It's going to be foul. Just foul. It's not reviewable, so no reason to look, but I do want another look at it. Seemed like could have been a fair ball. But nothing you can do about it now. So it's 1 and 2 on Contreras. Contreras, Burleson, and Arenado are the next 3 for the Cardinals. Here's the 1-2 from Bassitt. Upstairs, 2 and 2. That was the cutter. Big chance to start scrapping back in this one. At least getting one of these back would be a great strategy. Here's the 2-2 pitch from Bassitt to Contreras. Fouled back, still 2 and 2. Contreras is hitting 168 with 2 strikes this year, but obviously had a very bad start to the season, where almost every time he would get into a 2-strike count, so a lot of these numbers are coming from that. But just 168 with which is just barely below league average. And he has a 44.4% strikeout rate in these counts. It's also inflated by those first couple weeks of the year. But Donovan is on first. Contreras at the plate. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss on a cutter up and away, and down goes Contreras. So 1 man out now with Donovan on first for Alec Burleson. First pitch from Bassitt to Burleson. Upstairs with the cutter, 1-0. With Nolan Gorman's history against Bassitt, it wouldn't be bad to try to just load up some base runners as you work your way down the order. Try to continue a rally. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Burleson. Right down the middle, driven the other way. That's going to be a base hit over the head of Jimenez. Donovan's going to try to go first to third, and he will. Runners at the corners with 1 out in the 4th. So here's a big opportunity for the Cardinals with a runner on third and just 1 out. That's going to bring up Nolan Arenado. That pitch was just a sinker, a 92 on the outside part of the plate. Burleson stuck the bat out. Did a really good job of waiting on that one. And really put his hands through that pitch. Really nice piece of hitting. Arenado is 1 for 1 today. He hit a rocket up the middle his last time up for a base hit. Stuck the bat out and barreled it. Let's see what he can do here. The first pitch, grounded foul, 0-1. If Arenado can get this one out of the infield, it'll probably drive in the run from third. The Blue Jays are playing him to pull. The 0-1 pitch to Arenado is low with the sinker, 1-1. If Arenado can reach by any means, that would bring up Nolan Gorman. So, real big opportunity for the team here. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Arenado. As Bassitt steps off. It's his first disengagement of the at-bat. Burleson is smiling as he leads off first. Donovan leads off third. The 51st pitch of the game from Bassitt. He's actually going to step off. It's going to be his second disengagement of the at-bat. Burleson's not a huge threat to steal, so Bassitt's going to have to deliver here. The 1-1 to Arenado. Pulled, and it'll drop into the left field gap. It'll actually get cut off. But it is a base hit. Runners are at the corners once again, and it's 4-1. Toronto in the 4th. Nice base hit by Arenado, and the Cardinals are starting to claw their way back into this one. Arenado just drove a pitch that was below the zone, just put the barrel on it, leaning his back down, way over the head of the shortstop, Bichette. But a really, really nice play. I forgot they had Clase in left. He is so fast. Able to cut that one off as Gorman takes a sweeper below the zone, 1-0. It is 4-1 Blue Jays. Runners at the corners with one out for Nolan Gorman. The count is 1-0. He did walk his last time up. He has a great history. He's 2 for 2 with 2 homers against Bassitt. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Fastball inside, pulled foul. It is 1-1. The 1-1 pitch is fouled back. 1-2 now on Gorman. Gorman has not been good with runners in scoring position this year, hitting just 138 in these spots. Does have 8 RBIs and 2 extra base hits, but is yet to pick up a homer in a spot like this season. He does have a couple home runs this year. The 1-2 pitch from Bassitt to Gorman. Top of the zone, pulled high in the air to right field. That ball is gone. A 3-run homer for Gorman. He does have a home run with runners in scoring position now, and he is 3 for 3 with 3 home runs in his career against Bassitt. Consistency in matchups, and it is 4-4 in St. Louis in the 4th. That was a rocket down the right field line. Perfectly done by Gorman, and we might see him lock back into prime form if he keeps hitting like this. That was just a slider. He spun the barrel around it and pulled it into the right field bleachers. Great at-bat by Gorman, and you can expect it against Bassitt at this point. First pitch to Pajes is grounded over to third. Barger is there. And he grounds out, so Bassitt settles right back in. Here comes Victor Scott. It is a whole new game now after this 4th inning. 3 for 3 with 3 home runs. I don't know if there's a longer streak to start a career against a specific pitcher, but what a job so far by Gorman against Bassitt. Here's the pitch. Smoked up the middle for a base hit by Scott, and the rally continues. Victor Scott on first for Mason Wynn, with 2 outs now in the 4th. So he'll have a chance to steal a base here. This is one of those old school strategies where you can send Scott to try to get him to steal. And if he gets there, then you have a runner in scoring position for a guy who hits a lot of singles. And if he doesn't get there, then you have Mason Wynn leading off with the top of your order next inning. Chris Bassitt at 57 pitches now, 4 earned runs. It's the 4th inning. Both teams at 4 runs on 6 hits. Nolan Gorman starting to wake up. Here's the first pitch to Mason Wynn. Instead, Bassitt's going to check on Scott. That's a really smart pickoff attempt there, as Scott is likely to run during this at-bat. First pitch to Wynn is a hanging curveball at the bottom of the zone for a strike, 0-1. That one caught Wynn off guard, I bet. Usually you throw fastballs when you're worried about a stolen base threat. Scott takes his lead, and he stops, and the bat shatters as a line out is hit to short. Bichette makes the play, and we go to the 5th, but not before Nolan Gorman delivers with a 3-run home run and ties this one. 4-4, Cardinals Blue Jays. We go to the 5th. All right, it'll be Clase leading off the 5th inning. He homered in yesterday's game. And I will be right back. One thing that I'm always talking about is how individual matchups hold up better than anything. Because sometimes the swing plane just matches up well against the pitch shapes, and once the pattern is established between a single pitcher and a hitter, that usually holds steady as well as anything, even if it's a small sample size. If a guy has homered off of you in both of his previous at-bats, he might have the capability of doing it again, and that's what Gorman just did to Bassitt. Really incredible stuff. That is something I've made a little bit of money off of, just based on odds disparities, but the books did figure that out and didn't offer the same benefits the next time up, so always be smart about the odds if you're ever gambling. Here we go. 4-4 ball game. First pitch to Clase is right down the middle for a strike with a 93-mile-an-hour fastball. It's 0-1. Mikolas now pitching with a chance at picking up a win. Here is the 0-1 pitch. Up and away with the fastball, 1-1. The 1-1 pitch. Missed inside with the curveball, 2-1. Clase is 0 for 1 with a strikeout back in the second inning. The 2-1 pitch. Right down the middle with the changeup, 2-2. I have to imagine he feels all right with any outcome in this game after that game-saving home run yesterday. Here's the 2-2 from Mikolas to Clase. Right down the middle. Popped high in the air to center field, but it's going to drop right in front of Victor Scott, and Clase has a hit today as well. Fast runner on first base with nobody out, and Bo Bichette stepping up to the plate. One man on, nobody out. First pitch to Bichette. He is low and away with the slider, 1-0. Cardinals do have their best defensive catcher behind the plate in Pajes, so potentially chance at throwing out Clase if he goes. Here's the 1-0. Smoked to right field by Bichette, and that'll put runners at the corner. Nope. Burleson's throw does hold Clase at second base. He had to retreat. So runners at first and second with nobody out in the fifth. That was a rocket by Bichette, but I figured Burleson was playing deep enough that maybe he'd be able to get to third, but Clase did not tempt himself there. Runners at first and second with nobody out. Here comes Barger. He is 0 for 2 with a strikeout today, but a big opportunity here. The first pitch from Mikolas is in the dirt with the curveball, 1-0. Mikolas is at 70 pitches with no outs recorded here in the fifth. Looking to get through an inning or two more. The 1-0 pitch to Barger. Ground ball, foul, 1-1. The 1-1 pitch. Low and in, driven to left field. That one's going to drop in fair territory and hit off the State Farm sign. Donovan's going to have to range over, but a run is going to come around to score. It's 5-4 Blue Jays with runners at second and third, and nobody out in the fifth. So right after a comeback by the Cardinals, the Blue Jays show some resiliency, and it is 5-4. So it's going to bring up Alejandro Kirk with runners at second and third. You don't really want to put him on with nobody out, but a strikeout would be huge here. Pitching around a guy isn't the worst idea, but with George Springer on deck, it's not really an option. So let's see what Mikolas has for Kirk. The first pitch. Chopped over to second base. Gorman's going to make the play, and the run's not going to come in to score. Bassitt didn't get a good read on that one. 1 out. So that's going to bring up George Springer with runners at second and third, and 1 out now. Still a 5-4 lead for the Blue Jays. Cardinals are right back in it. The infield is in. Looking for some soft contact here, but Springer usually doesn't produce any of that. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss at 93 up and in. 0-1. The 0-1 pitch from Mikolas to Springer. Curveball, ground ball foul, 0-2. All right, here's the 0-2 pitch to George Springer. Way outside with the sweeper, 1-2. Cardinals still playing with the infield in. Let's see what Mikolas has for Springer. The 1-2 pitch. Fastball about a foot above the zone, 2-2. Springer hitting 150 with 2 strikes this year. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Reaches out, puts the end of the bat on that one. It's going to fly into shallow center, and Donovan will make the play. He's going to try to make a throw, but it's going to be cut off, and it is 6-4 Blue Jays in the 5th. So a sac fly for Springer, and Bassitt comes in to score. That's going to bring up Andres Jimenez with a runner on second and 2 outs, and a 2-run lead for the Blue Jays. So not the best start of the year for Mikolas, but 6 runs is something the Cardinals can still stay in the game against and potentially come back and win. Here's the pitch. Just low and away with the changeup, 1-0. Cardinals are down by 2. They'll get 4 chances to come back. The 1-0 from Mikolas is outside with the fastball, 2-0. (2-0) pitch to Jimenez. In there for a strike with a changeup, 2-1. Mikolas at pitch 81, so he'll probably face the bottom of the order and then be done for today. Hopefully he can make that 6 innings, not just 5. 2-1 pitch to Jimenez. Ground ball. Nice sliding play by Gorman, but Contreras cannot secure the throw at first, and we're going to have an error. And runners at first and third with 2 outs, and that's going to bring up Ernie Clement. Don't know who the error is going to be on here. Good play by Gorman to get to the ball, but the throw was just a little bit low and away there, so I guess you blame Gorman. Although it was a decent play to just get to it. Tough play for Contreras at first. Either way, runners at the corners. Here's the first pitch to Clement. Ground ball chopper over to Arenado. He's going to go to first base, and they get him by a step at first. So we go to the bottom of the 5th. It is 6-4 Blue Jays in St. Louis. This is not something you need to challenge. Yeah, we're playing on. It is midway through the 5th. I believe Ivan Herrera is going to be the first hitter for the Cardinals in the 5th. So let's grab his numbers. Obviously, he's been fantastic. Still trying to become a qualified hitter. Oh, that's the wrong guy. There we go. 966 OPS. He's still not qualified, but has a 12 batting run value. Fantastic expected WOBA, expected batting average, expected slug. Obviously, the long injury at the start of the year prevents a lot of these numbers from being official. But once he becomes qualified, he is going to be one of the better hitters in baseball on these percentiles. And he's been really, really solid. 966 OPS at 25 years old and can play catcher. It's a lot of value. Alrighty. Here we go. So Ivan Herrera stepping up to the plate. Calls time against Bassitt here. Cardinals trail by 2. It's 6-4 Blue Jays. Trying to get back into it. It is 2-3-4 with Herrera, Donovan, and Contreras. First pitch to Herrera is a ground ball. Playable at third for Barger. And he makes the play. 1 out in the 5th. Donovan stepping up to the plate. He is 0 for 1 with a run scored today. Did have a hit by pitch prior to the homer. Cutter up and in, taken for a strike. It's 0-1. It was a really big 4th inning for the Cardinals. Here's the 0-1. Outside, ground ball. Clement ranged over and tossed it to Bassitt. 2 outs in the 5th. That's going to bring up Wilson Contreras. Contreras is 0 for 2 with a strikeout today. He's had a really good season after that first month. I believe he's on a stretch where he had 5 doubles and a homer. First pitch is way outside 1-0. He has a really, really good average in the last couple of weeks. But he's 0 for 2 today, so let's see him pull it up. I believe it's a 333 average over that span. The 1-0 pitch to Contreras. He is chopped foul on a sinker way below the zone, 1-1. It is Contreras, Burleson, and Arenado due up next, but there's 2 outs with nobody on here in the 5th. So Contreras will have to get it started. Here's the 1-1 to Wilson Contreras. Check swing. No, he didn't. 2-1. Contreras hitting .250 on the year. 7 home runs, 727 OPS. The 2-1 pitch. Outside 3-1. So Contreras has a chance to reach here. With Alec Burleson waiting on deck. 3-1 pitch from Bassitt to Contreras. Easy check swing foul ball, 3-2. Bassitt about to throw his 68th pitch of the game. It is the 5th inning. So he could last through 7 or 8 if he keeps up this pace. Three-two pitch to Wilson Contreras. Ground ball, playable at short. Bichette ranges over and makes a good throw to first. We go to the 6th. It is 6-4 Blue Jays. So it's going to be Roden, Straw, and Clase. Ready. It's going to be John King coming in the game now. So that means that Mikolas is done through just 5 innings. John King, he's been okay. A 1.48 whip is pretty high. Very low strikeout rate, the lowest in baseball. Does have a fantastic ground ball percentage, 98th percentile at 61.3. But that's all added up to a 3.63 ERA, which is a little bit below average. -4 pitching run value. Here we go. John King's first pitch is grounded to second base, and Roden is down. 1 out. It's going to bring up Miles Straw. Straw is 0 for 2 today. Has not struck out in the game. Puts the ball in play a lot. Here's the first pitch. He's going to square around, but pulls it back for ball 1. That was a sinker outside. The 1-0 pitch is popped up. And caught up against the wall by Burleson. So the foul wall was getting close to that one. I was unsure. But Burleson ranged over and made the catch right by the wall. 2 outs. That's going to bring up Jonathan Clase. He was able to pick up a hit and score a run after his last time up. First pitch to Clase. He's in there for a strike with a sinker, 0-1. King has 2 outs. He got those in just 3 pitches. Here comes pitch number 5 for John King. Ground ball back to the mound. Nice stab by King. And he has a 1-2-3 inning in just 5 pitches, and the Cardinals will go right back to work in the bottom of the 6th. Burleson, Arenado, and Gorman. So King could probably go an extra inning after that. But if the Cardinals tie up the game, I don't know if Marmol will play it that way. If Gorman gets to face Bassitt again, that could be a great sign. Might be the end of the game for Bassitt when Gorman comes up. Alrighty. Let's see if the game's already back. It is. It's still going to be Bassitt against Burleson here. Nobody on, nobody out. First pitch of the inning to Burleson is low and in with the curveball, 1-0. Cardinals trying to rally back. They're down 6-4 here in the bottom of the 6th. Let's see what Burleson can do against Bassitt. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Low and away, fouled off, 1-1. The 1-1 is a curveball, caught the outside corner. Perfect pitch by Bassitt. It's 1-2. The 1-2 pitch to Burleson. He's fouled off of his leg. That one's going to hurt. He's going to have to walk that one off. Still 1-2. Burleson, he is 1-4-2 in the game. Also has 5 home runs on the year. Be a really good time for Burleson, Arenado, Gorman to strike for the Cardinals. There's nobody on and nobody out right now. Bassitt on pitch number 73, so he's been really, really efficient so far. But you wonder if the coach wants him facing Gorman again. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Burleson. Up and away, fouled off. Still 1-2. Burleson had a single his last time up. Did come around to score on the Gorman homer. The 1-2 pitch. Lofted to right field, but it's playable. And the catch is made by Roden. So 1 out, and that will bring up Nolan Arenado with nobody on in the 6th. You really want to get a base runner here. Try to force some pressure to the manager or to Bassitt against Gorman. First pitch, ground ball, easy play at short, and Bassitt will make it. So 2 outs, nobody on. This is exactly when they want him facing Gorman. So they may just leave him in. Gorman, a career 3 for 3 with a walk and 3 home runs against Bassitt. Can this keep happening? Let's find out. First pitch, outside with the sinker, 0-1. That was a really nice pitch from Bassitt, going right after him. Gorman typically attacks his other pitches. Here's the 0-1. Up and in with the cutter. That one's popped up. Playable at short for Bassitt, and he'll make the grab. So Bassitt settles in and gets Gorman. That means the Cardinals are in trouble, as he's only at 75 pitches. He can probably go a couple more innings. He's through 6. Here comes no. Looks like it's the top of the order. Bassitt, Barger, and Kirk. Could still be John King on the mound. I would expect it to be John King. He had a great inning last inning. He's probably still going to be on the mound. I will take a look, though. Let's see. Bassitt, Barger, Kirk. That is righty. Lefty, righty. So righty, lefty, righty. You'd usually go to a righty against that, but I would probably just stick with John King. He had a great inning last inning. Him and Matz are kind of the long relievers anyway. You would rather see King than a guy like Roycroft or O'Brien, so that's what I expect. King is still in the game, so let's see if he can stretch it out to another inning. First pitch is inside 1-0 with the changeup on Bassitt. Bassitt is 2 for 3 with 2 runs scored in this one. Doing a great job as the leadoff hitter. Here's the 1-0. Fouled away the other way, 1-1. That was a sinker low and in. The 1-1 pitch to Bassitt is driven the other way, 1-2. The 1-2 pitch, way up and in, 2-2. Two to Bassitt. He is driven high in the air to right field, but it is playable at the warning track by Burleson for out number 1. So that'll bring up Addison Barger. He is 1 for 3 with an RBI in this one and a strikeout. First pitch to Barger. He is a ground ball. Almost got through the hole. Oh, it does. It gets under the glove of Gorman, and that's going to be a base hit. So maybe a play Donovan might have made, but A light ground ball by Barger creates a hit, and he is on first with one out for Alejandro Kirk. That is one of the negatives about going with Gorman and moving Nootbaar out of the lineup. You get rid of some of that defensive strength with Burleson and Donovan having to play in the outfield. Some of those pitches that would have been outs are no longer outs, and that's going to bring up Kyle Leahy in relief in the 7th inning. All right, Kyle Leahy's obviously been fantastic. A 2.34 ERA with a 1.1 whip, 26 strikeouts. That's fantastic. One of the best breaking balls in baseball. Really good extension. Great ground ball rate, 50.5%. And he keeps the contact soft, but he doesn't have a great strikeout rate, and the walk rate has actually made its way up at 8.6%, which is above average. So that is not what you love to see compared to what he did at the beginning of the year, but Leahy's still been a very nice pitcher. So he's coming into the game to face Kirk, Springer, Jimenez. First pitch from Leahy to Alejandro Kirk is a curveball up and in. He missed. It's 1-0. Kirk is 1 for 3 today. Had a bloop single that he popped in the air. Jam shot to center field. Ended up scoring. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Kirk. Fastball low and away. Missed once again. It's 2-0. There is a runner on first with one out. The Cardinals trying to hold on to their current deficit at just 2. Trying to avoid falling behind any further as Kirk drives one high in the air to right field. Back is Burleson, and that one's into the bullpen for a 2-run home run for Alejandro Kirk. Kirk doing fantastic this series. He is on fire. That's his second hit of the game, his 5th home run of the season. I believe it's his 2nd home run of the series. So it is now 8-4 Blue Jays in the 7th. That was 94 up and away from Leahy. Hittable pitch, and Kirk did not miss it. Just reached it out. Drove it the other way with the barrel of the bat. Really nice swing. That'll bring up George Springer, who takes ball 1 low and away. So the Cardinals are going to need another 4 runs to get back in this one if they don't want to fall behind 2 games in this series. Springer hits a ground ball, and it's going to hit Mason Wynn, and that's going to be a base hit. Tough hop on Wynn. He was unable to get the glove on it. So a man on with 1 out, and that's going to bring up Andres Jimenez. That hop was just really, really high. I don't know what Wynn could have done about that. First pitch to Jimenez. Just upstairs with the fastball, 1-0. Blue Jays have 8 runs on 12 hits. The Cardinals have 4 runs on 6 hits. Here's the 1-0. Right down the middle, fouled back, 1-1. So the work is cut out for the Cardinals to try to come back in this one. The 1-1 pitch to Jimenez from Leahy. Right down the middle, driven the other way. Arenado is there, and it's a double play. So good positioning there by Arenado. And Leahy does his job, but not before giving up a 2-run bomb. Let's see if the Cardinals can rally back. They're down 8-4. Looks like it'll be Pages, Scott, and Wynn in the upcoming inning. Alrighty, let's see. Pedro Pages stepping up to the plate as the Honda home run inning. Chris Bassitt is still on the mound. He's only thrown 77 pitches through 6 innings. He could probably go 8 if he keeps up this pace, but hopefully the Cardinals can get to him here. It's Pages, Scott, and Wynn this inning with Herrera due up 4th. First pitch to Pages. He is a curveball at the bottom of the zone, 0-1. This would be a game the Cardinals would love to be able to put together a rally and take from the Blue Jays here. The 0-1 pitch. Another curveball, 1-1. A lot of weird outcomes around baseball today. The Nationals are beating the Mets. The White Sox are beating the Astros. Here's the 1-1 to Pages. Up and in, popped up. Playable at first for Clement, and he makes the play. So 1 out. It's going to bring up Victor Scott. Victor Scott stepping up to the plate. Here's the first pitch. Swing and a miss on a cutter at the top of the zone, 0-1. Bassitt has been really efficient for a guy who's given up 4 runs. It was just all in one rally. Here's the 0-1 to Scott. Outside, 1-1. Cardinals hoping for another rally potentially. With the top of their order coming up after Scott, here's the 1-1 pitch to Victor. Up and in, 2-1. Definitely not out of this game by any means. Bassitt wants a new baseball. It is always tough to get to the back end of the bullpen or a starter that's gone this far, but Cardinals are a team that can do it. 2-1 pitch to Scott. Upstairs, 3-1. Mason Wynn is waiting on deck. Let's see if Scott can reach the 3-1 pitch. Low and in, ball 4. So Bassitt walks Scott. It is going to be his 4th time through the order. Are the Blue Jays done with him for the day? Mason Wynn appears to be walking up to the plate. No movement from the Blue Jays, so they're going to stick with Bassitt. At just 85 pitches, it makes sense. Wynn is 0 for 3 today. First pitch from Bassitt to Wynn. Outside, 1-0. That was the cutter. Victor Scott is 1 for 2 with a walk now. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Wynn with Scott on first. Up and in, popped up, playable, easy play. Catch made by Clement. 2 outs now in the 7th. Here comes Ivan Herrera. Herrera is 1 for 3, does have a strikeout today. But he's a guy who can definitely drive one if you need him to. Now would be a great time to smash a baseball. Bassitt at 87 pitches. It's really unlikely for the Cardinals to have a long rally here, so extra bases here would be appreciated. Victor Scott on first. He could score with any extra base hit. First pitch, gets a call on the inside part of the plate, 0-1. The 0-1 pitch to Herrera. Inside, he pops it up, and it looks like the Cardinals are going to strand Victor Scott, and they will. So we'll go to the 8th. It is 8-4 Blue Jays in St. Louis. So Clement, Roden, Straw. All right, my bad. Probably missed a little bit here. Leahy still in the game, able to get one out before Roden drove one over the head of Wynn for a base hit. So that's where we're at. All right, 1 man on, 1 man out in the 8th for Miles Straw. See if Leahy can get a ground ball here. Try to keep the Cardinals in the game. First pitch. In there for a strike with the slider outside. It's 0-1. Scoring 4 runs in 2 innings is not the most impossible thing in the world. Hopefully the Cardinals are thinking the same thing. Let's see if Leahy can keep it there. The 0-1 pitch to Straw. That was a perfect pitch right at the bottom of the zone with the sinker. Didn't get the call. 1-1. Jonathan Clase is on deck. 1 man on, 1 man out here in the 8th. The 1-1. Swing and a drive deep to center field, but Scott will play that one at the track and make the grab. 2 outs. Runner on first is Clement. That will bring up Clase. Two outs, 1 man on. Here's the pitch. Missed low with the slider, 1-0. The 1-0 pitch from Leahy. He is chopped foul, 1-1. The 1-1 pitch to Clase. He is pulled over to first base. It's a foul ball. Thought Contreras might have stabbed that one in fair territory, but it just got foul. 2 strikes now on Clase. It's 1-2 with 2 outs. Looks like a Ferris wheel in St. Louis. There's some sort of fair going on. The 1-2 pitch now from Leahy to Clase. He is chopped foul once again, so I'll have to do it again. Clase, a very fast outfielder. Here's the 1-2 from Leahy. Swing and a miss on a fastball just above the zone, right above the barrel of Clase. Down he goes. Good job by Leahy to settle in. We go to the bottom half. It is 8-4 Blue Jays. So where does that put us? Let's see. Is it Donovan? I believe it's Donovan, Contreras, Burleson here. All right, so I guess I should look at. I mean, Bassitt is still in the game, so I don't know. There's no reason to take him out. There's nothing else to analyze. So yeah, it's Bassitt, it's Donovan. Here we go. Nope, it's Fluharty. They're going to Fluharty. Okay. He's been good this year, I believe. He's a lefty. Yep, 90th percentile pitching run value. Really nice. 99th percentile in the average exit velo at 84.3, 0.8 whip. So he's been great. They're going to go lefty-lefty. I believe he's better against the righties, though. First pitch to Donovan is outside 1-0. So that's just a strange decision. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Donovan. Up and in with the cutter for a strike, it's 1-1. Because if you're better against the righties, then why are you being pitched in the 8th against 2 lefties out of 3? Especially with Gorman coming up in 4 hitters. Here's the 1-1. Driven the other way, but foul. It's 1-2. That was a sweeper low and away. The 1-2 pitch to Donovan. He's upstairs, 2-2. Let's see if Donovan can see this pitch. The 2-2 pitch from Fluharty is a foul tip, but it is dropped. So it's still 2-2 on Donovan. So he'll get a second life here. Let's see if he can turn it into something positive. The 2-2 pitch to Donovan. Goes down and fouls it off again. Still 2-2. The other nightmare part of this for the Blue Jays is you bring in your lefty and then Donovan fouls off a bunch of pitches, makes him throw a lot, and eventually a guy like Gorman could be very, very scary. Here's the 2-2 to Donovan. Driven the other way, foul again. Fantastic at bat so far. Donovan making sure any ball that he takes is well out of the zone. Fluharty is set. Here's the 2-2 to Donovan. Fouled off again. So this is going to be the 9th pitch of the at-bat. It's still 2-2. That's how many foul balls Donovan's already produced. Trying to reach base here in the 8th. Very important at-bat in this one. The 2-2, swing and a miss on a sweeper low and away. It was foul tipped into the glove, and down goes Donovan. That's his first strikeout of the day. And it's Fluharty's first strikeout of the day. That one on 9 pitches. So here comes Wilson Contreras. He does have the platoon advantage, but it's not an advantage against him, I believe. See if he can reach base, as the Cardinals are going to need a few guys to reach base prior to Gorman if they want that slam. As Fluharty catches the upper outside corner with a cutter, 0-1. The 0-1 pitch to Contreras. Way outside with the sweeper, 1-1. One pitch to Contreras is just outside again, 2-1. So he's trying to fit that sweeper back into the zone, but struggling to do so. See if Contreras gets something to hit here. See if he can reach base. 2-1 pitch. Driven over to third, easy play, and it's made. So nice job over at third base by, who is it? It's Barger. 2 outs, nobody on. That'll bring up Alec Burleson. in the 8th. So really kind of the last chance to start something in this inning. And you don't love the chances if the Cardinals can't score in this 8th inning. Here's the pitch. Driven the other way, foul, 0-1. I could see a pathway if you get Arenado on for Gorman to start the 9th, but it's still tough. Here's the 0-1. Driven through the hole for a base hit. So Burleson will reach base. That one was pulled between first base and second base. So that's going to bring up Arenado. Arenado, he's 2 for 3 today, does have an RBI and a run scored in this one. Blue Jays look like they're going to go to the pen. And that is going to be Green. So let's check out Green's numbers. Fluherty is done. He got 2 outs, gave up 1 base runner. Chad Green. 1.32 whip. He hasn't been very good this year. Right-handed pitcher, drafted by the Tigers. 3.62 ERA is not bad, but the whip is really high at 1.32. And if Arenado reaches, he'll have to face Gorman, so could be negative there. About average in the strikeout rate, better walk rate than average with 7.1%. But the hard hit rate in the first percentile, same thing with average exit velo. And let's see, barrels as well. So the guy who can give up a home run, it's exactly what the Cardinals are looking for with a base runner on already. So here you really just want Arenado to do whatever he can possibly do to reach base. If Arenado reaches base, then you have Gorman up with a chance to drive the ball against a guy who gives up a lot of barrels, and that's the best bet you can make at the end of this game, with Gorman having already homered. This is going to have to be one of those long at-bats to try to save the team here by Arenado. He is 2 for 3 on the day, having a good day. Hopefully he can punch one through here and reach base, pass the torch, let Gorman have a chance. First pitch from Green to Nolan Arenado. Driven high in the air to left field. That one is smoked, and that one is gone. Just over the Rottler Solution sign. A home run for Arenado. That makes the game 8-6 Blue Jays in the 8th. His 8th home run of the year, 35 RBIs, 367 feet to left field at 101 miles an hour. Arenado decided to do it himself, so better than reaching base. Cardinals are within 2 runs, and that's going to bring up Nolan Gorman. Great job by Arenado. He saw a fastball above the zone, didn't wait, and did barrel it up. Green is a guy that gives up barrels, so if you get a chance to crush one, go ahead and do it, and that's what Arenado did. Here's the first pitch to Gorman. In there for a strike with a slider, 0-1. Even though that was exciting, you kind of have to lock right back in. As you're still down by 2, you still have just 4 outs remaining. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Right down the middle, smoked to right field, and it's going to drop in for a base hit for Gorman. So the tying run's going to come to the plate in the form of Pedro Pages. You wonder if a pinch hit could happen here. Pages is a guy who can homer. It is very rare, but Pages has the chance to tie this game. He's done it against the Cubs in the past. It is the 8th inning. Pages will get his chance. Here's the first pitch from Green. It is just in there at the bottom of the zone with the slider, 0-1. So Chad Green not having a great day so far. Gave up a 2-run bomb to Arenado. Here's the 0-1 to Pages. Hung a slider on the outside part of the plate. It's popped up. The center fielder comes on and makes a running grab. So Straw makes that catch. We go to the 9th. Cardinals trail 8-6. A 2-run bomb by Arenado gives them a chance in the 9th. It's also going to force the closer into the game, though. So it could have some negative. Leahy, he's already thrown an inning and 2/3. He's thrown 22 pitches. You're looking at Bichette, Barger, Kirk. That is righty, lefty, righty. With Springer also being a righty, you definitely go to a right-handed pitcher here. I think you go to a new one. So the Cardinals options are here. You're down by 2. Riley O'Brien pitched yesterday. I mean, I think the plan was probably to go to Roycroft here. You never love to see that. Maton pitched yesterday. Helsley pitched yesterday. Leahy just pitched. So you could leave Leahy in, which wouldn't be a terrible idea, but he's already had a good number of pitches. Or you could go to Roycroft. I don't know who I trust more, Leahy in his 3rd inning or Roycroft. Probably still Leahy. I just don't know how far you want to go with him. He's already had 22 pitches. Leahy can go another inning. But you do have to pitch Roycroft at some point. You're down by 2. It's the top of the order, though, so I expect Leahy. Might as well. All right, let's see. It is Roycroft, so the Cardinals, they're also going to put Velade in the outfield. I don't know about that one. In favor of Burleson, maybe? I guess that makes sense. First pitch to Bichette is a good sinker from Roycroft at 95. That's a really good pitch. 0-1. Roycroft has a 7.2 ERA, a 1.9 whip this year, so not fantastic. But here's the 0-1 to Bichette. Cutter up and in. Did not make it back into the zone. 1-1. Bichette is 2 for 4 today with 2 singles and 2 runs scored. Good leadoff hitter today. The 1-1 from Roycroft. He is driven high in the air to right field, and it's going to get foul. So that was a little bit scary. 1-2. After all the clawing back by the Cardinals, Roycroft tries to hold on to the deficit of 2 runs. I guess holding on is probably not the right word, but just keep them within striking distance. Here's the 2-2 from Roycroft to Bichette. Up and in, chopped over to third. Arenado's going to have a really tough play. He's going to try it, but he's not going to get Bichette. Bichette runs a little too fast. A good bunt, basically. Basically a bunt single, and he has his third hit of the game. It was just one of those squib choppers that just goes too soft to make a play on. Bichette on first with nobody out. And Addison Barger coming up to the plate. The pitch is a little high with the fastball, 1-0. The 1-0 pitch from Roycroft to Barger. He's popped foul, 1-1. Cardinals playing Barger to pull, but there's still a hole up the middle. Here's the 1-1. Good pitch there with the sinker on the outside corner, 1-2. So one man on, nobody out in the ninth. Roycroft on the mound, 1-2 count to Addison Barger, who called time, but he's stepping back in now. Here's the 1-2. Just up and away with the fastball, 2-2. Two-two pitch from Roycroft to Barger. Swing and a miss on a sinker below the zone. Down goes Barger. So one out with one man on. That's going to bring up Alejandro Kirk. Kirk is 2 for 4. Did hit a home run back in the 7th to drive in a couple of runs for the Blue Jays. That one just barely got out into the bullpen. But a home run's a home run. Here's the first pitch. In there for a strike with the sinker, 0-1. Kirk this series is 6 for 9 with 2 home runs, 4 RBIs, and 4 extra base hits. It's very, very impressive. The 0-1 pitch from Roycroft. Instead, he checks on Bichette, who reaches the bag safely. Let's see if Roycroft can get a ground ball. The 0-1 pitch. Right down the middle, fouled off, 0-2. Timeout called. George Springer is waiting on deck if there's no double play here. The 0-2 pitch to Kirk. Right down the middle, fouled off again. Good at bat from Kirk to stay alive. Once again, an 0-2 pitch to Alejandro Kirk. Fouled off once again. So a long at bat. Still 0-2. Roycroft about to throw his 15th pitch of the inning. Definitely not too much work, but you don't want to get too much higher than that over the course of an inning. The 0-2 pitch. Ground ball. That one's going to get through the hole between Wynn and Arenado. Wynn does a good job of covering third because Arenado tried to range over. And now there's runners at first and second with one out. And that's going to bring up George Springer. So Roycroft not having a great inning. That was a ball on the ground that should have been playable if it was anywhere else, but he found the gap. So here comes Springer. He's 2 for 3. Must have been hit by a pitch in this one. The pitch. In there for a strike. 0-1. The 0-1 pitch to Springer. Way upstairs, 1-1. So with runners at first and second and one out, Cardinals trail 8-6 in the ninth inning of this one. Trying to get out of this with maybe a ground ball and give their offense a chance to strike. The 1-1. Swing and a miss on a fastball at the top of the zone, 1-2. The 1-2 pitch from Roycroft to Springer. Chopped foul, still 1-2. So Roycroft now up at about 20. This will be pitch number 20 of the inning, with the infield plan Springer to pull. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss on a fastball at the top of the zone. Down goes Springer for the second time today. That'll bring up Andres Jimenez. Jimenez is 1 for 4, but his hit was a 3-run homer. Which is the difference in the game so far. Hopefully Roycroft can go ahead and get this out. First pitch. Perfectly placed with the sinker outside, 0-1. That one just caught that lower outside corner. The 0-1 from Roycroft. Fouled back, 0-2. Two outs, 0-2 count, 2 men on. Here's the pitch from Roycroft to Andres Jimenez. Pulled through and up the middle for a base hit. That's going to score a run. It is going to be 6-9 Blue Jays now in the ninth. And the insurance run will loom large. Cardinals trail by 3. Fastball ended up tailing right over the heart of the plate. Easy pitch for Jimenez to put the barrel on, and that's going to cost the Redbirds. But hopefully Roycroft can at least settle in and get this last out. It'll be Ernie Clement as Dusty Blake comes out to speak with him. Clement is 1 for 4 today. Has 3 home runs on the year, hitting .272. Here's a pitch from Roycroft with 2 men on. Way outside, it's going to get past Pajes, easily going to score the run. 10-6 Blue Jays, in case you had any hope in the ninth. So Roycroft continues to give up a lot of runs in his career. This one is definitely on Roycroft. It's just a simple wild pitch. It ended up actually bouncing all the way to the first baseman, which is Contreras. So a runner on second in Jimenez. The 1-0 pitch to Clement. Hit high in the air to center field. Catchable, and Scott makes the grab. So 10-6 Blue Jays. Roycroft has a rough inning. It'll be Scott, Wynn, Herrera in the bottom half of the ninth. Let's see what the Cardinals can do. Velade came in for Donovan. Did Donovan get hurt? I'm going to check an X real fast. All right, so Donovan left the game with toe soreness after being hit by the pitch, so that is unfortunate. Really would have liked to see him hit again because could have been a big piece of a potential rally. But still have Scott win Herrera and Velade, who could get on base for a Contreras, Burleson, or Arenado homer. First pitch of the 9th inning, Chad Green stays in the game, fouled back by Scott. So I guess the potential could be good for the Cardinals here, with the closer not coming in the game. It is 0-1 on Victor Scott. Second pitch, popped up. That one's going to be playable. Shortstop has to reach out there. Bo Bichette for out number 1. Left fielder could have made that play. It was weird that he didn't call him off because Bichette had to reach at a weird angle, but either way, did make the play. 1 out. That'll bring up Mason Wynn. So this is about where the rally needs to begin for the Cardinals. Wynn basically has to reach if they're looking to win this game. Got to see some pitches, make Green work. Here's the pitch. Good take by Wynn at the top of the zone. 1-0. The 1-0 pitch is in there for a strike at 96, low and away. It's 1-1. Big hole in the middle of the infield as Wynn cues one past the pitcher, and it's going to be an infield hit due to that hole up the middle. So Wynn reaches. Let's see if the Cardinals can get something going. He starts the train there. Does a little bit of a choo-choo motion. And here comes Ivan Herrera. Herrera's a guy you can expect to get on base when you need somebody to do it. Hopefully he does it here. Here's the pitch. Outside 1-0. So we got to just see all those pitches out of the zone. Try to reach base by any means. Here's the 1-0. Looks like it's upstairs. 2-0 on Herrera. Herrera 1 for 4 today with a strikeout. Let's see if he can find one up the middle or take another pitch. The 2-0. Right down the middle, he smashes it out to left field. That's going to be a base hit. Wynn can go first to third, and he does. And it is going to be Runners at the corners with one out in the ninth. Good hit by Herrera there. That'll bring up Ryan Vilade. So this is that rally that you were really hoping for, but you really wish you could see Brendan Donovan right about now. Looks like the Blue Jays pitching coach is going to talk to Green. That's a weird decision. I think most teams would just go to the bullpen right here. Because with two base runners on, it's going to be a pinch hitter. Joel, I think it's like Joel, but I've been saying Yohel all year. Pozo is going to be coming up to the plate. So I like that a lot better than Ryan Vilade here, if we're being real. Pozo is hitting .298 with a .709 OPS. They're still going to play with that hole up the middle. And also a big hole on the right side of the infield. Just one man at second base trying to cover a lot of ground today. That being Jimenez. Here's the first pitch to Pozo. Check swing. He did not go. It's 1-0. Oh, yes, he did. They finally checked with the first base ump. It's 0-1. One out. Runners at the corners in the ninth. Let's see if Pozo can deliver for the Redbirds. The 0-1 pitch. Swing and a miss on a slider, low and away. It's 0-2 on Pozo. Wilson Contreras is on deck. It would be great if Pozo could reach and give him a chance to tie the game. Pozo called time. He's stepping back in. The 0-2 pitch to Pozo. They go above the zone. He fouls it back. Still 0-2. Chad Green is a guy who can give up barrels on those high fastballs. We saw it earlier on the home run from Arenado. Here's the 0-2 pitch to Pozo. Rolled foul, and we'll do it again. So Pozo doing a good job, but hopefully he can see a pitch that's out of the zone and take it if it's out of his reach. Continue to work Chad Green. Runners at the corners. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Takes a slider way outside. It's 1-2. Just looking to reach base here. The 1-2 pitch to Pozo. They go outside with the slider again. This one's popped up to second base. And the catch is made by Jimenez. So runners at the corners. 2 outs, and that's going to bring up Wilson Contreras. Unfortunately for Contreras, a blast wouldn't mean anything here, so he should just try to reach base. Try to pass the baton to Burleson. Here comes the manager. So that'll do it for Chad Green. He was about to reach 20 pitches. Probably don't want him to be closing out the game anyway, so they will go to another pitcher. All right, so we don't need to look at bullpen for the Cardinals anymore. Let's take a look at the Blue Jays version. Hoffman, I mean, it's going to be Hoffman now, right? Hoffman only threw 9 pitches yesterday. I can check, though. Has he been pretty good this year? Not really. He's been about average, 5.46 ERA, 1.08 whip. The barrel rate is still really high at 11.6%. Does usually force low expected batting average and gets a lot of strikeouts and doesn't walk very many hitters, but ground ball rate is low and the barrel rate is low. So Hoffman can give up big hits. It will be Hoffman coming into the game. So Contreras just has to try to work a really long at-bat and get on base here, or find a hole and make really good contact and get on base that way. But by any means, just get on base, because Burleson can barrel up Hoffman. And so could Arenado, so you just need to pass the baton over to those two. Hoffman has not been great on the year, but he does only have a 1.08 whip. Doesn't walk a whole lot of hitters, so this will be a tough assignment for Contreras. But hopefully he sees these pitches well. Contreras is 0 for 4 today with 1 strikeout. Looking for his first hit of the game. First pitch. Right down the middle. It is smoked high in the air to center field. That one is crushed and gone. A 3-run home run for Wilson Contreras, and it's a 1-run ball game in the 9th. That is basically the same thing as a walk, but either way, this game just got exciting. Here comes Burleson after Contreras sets the example. That one was 432 feet, 110 miles an hour off the bat. Big swing for Contreras, but we'll see if it matters very soon. Just a fastball right down the middle. Contreras did not miss it. But for once in his life, Hoffman can give up a home run and not face a blown save quite yet. So here comes Burleson. Let's see if he can keep the crowd on their feet. First pitch, pulled over to second base, and Jimenez will make the play, and the Blue Jays win it 10-9. So the rough 9th inning by Roycroft looms large. It's tough to say Marmol shouldn't have changed the plan once the Cardinals scored those first 2 runs in that 8th inning, but it's a loss, and it is what it is. The game plan at that point was to go to Roycroft. They did, and he will take the loss as a result. Actually, I don't think that's how it works, but he deserves the loss. Either way. 10-9 final. Rough game for the Cardinals to lose, scoring 9 runs. But really great hitting from a guy like Alejandro Kirk in this series, and you just can't take it away from him. So hopefully the Cardinals can salvage the series in that 3rd game. We'll see you guys very soon for that.